So, if you've been strolling around the internet as a motorfall fan recently, could have stumbled upon this. Futuristic boat with this strange design caught your attention, but there aren't really any information on this championship apparently. I'm here to solve the problem. This is the E1 series, and I explain everything you need to know about this championship. So, first thing first, let's briefly talk about the history of the series. The first concept was created in 2020 by Roddy Basso, former NASA engineer that also worked with some F1 teams, like Ferrari and McLaren, and Alejandro Agag, founder of Formula E and Extreme E. The designing duties were granted to Sophie Horn, founder and CEO of Seabird Technologies, and her team. They designed the boat taking inspiration from seabirds, creating the foils, which are the two wings that made this boat so iconic. It's not completely new technology. Foils were around since the early years of the 20th century, and they were already used in other championships like the America's Cup, but they were never implemented in a powerboat. This is what makes this championship so unique and so innovative. The trio now needed to find someone that would actually build the boat. Luckily for them, they found Brunello Campora, founder and CEO of Victory Design, an Italian-renowned boat manufacturer. Brunello itself stated that this was a mind-blowing project, especially because the powerboating world had a lack of innovation in the last century. The championship was then announced at the Yacht Club of Monaco in September 2021, with a big show under the heavy rain. Also, real note, this is the moment where I fell in love with the series, just so you know. A lot of people were impressed, but someone was skeptical that the project would work. Still, the event set a very high standard on the series, and the showboat they bring to the club has a pretty great design. Big names in the racing world showed up that evening, kinda like David Coulthard, special guest of the presentation. It was now time to create a real prototype and start testing. Now let's talk about the Racebird, aka the boat used in the championship, and all the testing they went through. The first ever test was done in Lake Maggiore, yeah, the same one of Gran Turismo 7, with Frankie, basically a 200 euros boat with some really simple foil attached to it. After understanding that the concept worked, they now focus their attention on creating the first prototype of the Racebird, the Proto 1, which then was shown to the public on River Po. The test actually went pretty smoothly, except a broken foil, but other than that was pretty good. The boats itself are a one-off design, so that every team can perform at the same exact level. It can reach a maximum of 50 knots of speed, or 93 km per hour, or 58 miles per hour for the most American ones here, all thanks to the foils, that lift the boats out of the water so it can pierce through air, which is much less dense than water, minimizing the drag. The Racebird also has 150 kW of power, or 200 brake horsepower, a battery with 35 kWh, and also has a boost that increases the speed of the boat for a few seconds because it goes off and starts recharging. The boost system was changed between the first and second season. In the first, the pilot could activate it and it would increase the speed for 20 seconds with a recharge time of 40 seconds. Meanwhile, in the second season, they implemented the variable boost, where the pilot could choose to boost for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds or 20 seconds, with a recharge time doubled based on the duration selected. All said specifics were implemented in the Proto 2, which was the second version of the Racebird, which is what ultimately the team were racing with in the actual season. Let's now talk about the calendars of the first two seasons. The first ever calendar was released on June 2023 and featured 7 races, mostly across Europe. Starting in Jeddah in early 2024, then an announced race in the Middle East in February, 2 races in Venice, the first in April and the second in May, another unannounced race in Europe in June, then Monaco in July, and Rotterdam as the final race in September 2024. This calendar was replaced by another one, revealed at the end of 2023, still featuring several races but completely new location. Still starting in Jeddah in the 2nd and 3rd of February, followed by Venice in the 11th and 12th of May, which I have attended live, then Porto Lanús near Marbella, Spain in the 1st and 2nd of June, Geneva next in the 29th and 30th of June, Monaco in the 26th and 27th of July, Rotterdam in the 7th and 8th of September, and for the final race, they will race in Hong Kong, to declare the 2024 champion of the waters. Out of the race I've just listed, quite a few of them wouldn't take place. In the end, only Jeddah, Venice, Porto Banús and Monaco were competed. Although, after the cancellation of Rotterdam, they decided to replace it with a race in Chernobyl, Lake Como, few kilometers north of Milan, in the prestigious Villa d'Este, being the season finale of the 2024 championship. In 2025, they also decided for a 7-race championship. It seems they really loved the number 7. This year they added 2 new race locations, in the form of Doha and Miami. But they dropped Venice and Porto Banús. It's a shame, but I kinda see why they done it. Venice was a logistical nightmare, and the violent seas of Porto Banús damaged some of the boat. It wasn't big damage, but it's like if Formula 1 raced on a circuit with spike traps on the ground, which apparently is not ideal. It is now time to talk about what I think is the most interesting part of the video. All of the teams that have competed or should have competed in the E1 series. Every team is backed by a celebrity. You understand what I'm saying in a few minutes. They can also have a single boat and 2 pilots sharing it, which, by rules, must be a male and a female, and it's up to the team to choose which pilot will race in which session of the weekend. Another thing they have to choose is the propeller. They can choose between a small 15-pitch propeller that increases acceleration but decreases the top speeds, a big 18-pitch propeller that decreases acceleration but runs at high top speeds, and a medium 16-pitch one that has decent acceleration and decent maximum speeds. Also, if you don't know what a pitch is, it is basically the distance traveled by a boat with a complete revolution of the propeller. We will talk about the teams in a chronological order based on when they joined the series. The first ever team to join was the Venice Racing Team, brainchild of entrepreneur Francesco Panoli, and sponsored by his own company eConcept that creates electrical charging docks for electric boats, and Meneghini Associati, a social media marketing company. They've also announced the pilot being Gianluca Carli and Marit Stromoy. Unfortunately, this team will never hit the waters, as sponsor problems meant that the team would retire from the championship just a couple of months away from its first race. A shame, because as a person from northern Italy that lives in Venice, it would have been really cool to see a team that represented the city I love. After that, Sergio Perez joined the series, not as a pilot, but as a team owner of Team Mexico, which was renamed last minute as Sergio Perez E1 Team, or Team Checo. They've chosen Danny Close, former F1 reserve driver and test driver for various F1 teams, and Vicky Piria, GT racer in the Italian Porsche Carrera Cup. Unfortunately for them, the 2024 season was everything other than good, with the last place in the championship and a 5th place in Jeddah as the best result of the season. With Sergio Perez's contract at Red Bull not being extended, Checo decided to dismantle his team ahead of the second season. After that, Rafael Nadal announced his own team, Team Rafa. The now retired tennis legend always loved the ocean, and so he decided to join. He loved the series, exactly like this pilot Tom Chapp and Cristina Lazaraga. They've always been fast and competitive, except 2 bad results in the middle of last year's season that demolished their chances of title glory, finishing 4th overall. In 2025, they've started much stronger. At the time of me recording this video, they've just taken their maiden win in Doha and they're leading the championship, and seems like one of the favorites to take the crown. Then another legend joined the fleet, Didier Drogba, alongside his fiancée Gabrielle Lemaire, and their pilots Oban Duncan, the youngest pilot in the series, only 19 but already a 10 times British powerboat champion, and Youssef Abdul Razak, 7-time Aquabike champion. They were and still are the dark horses of the championship, finishing 6th that season with a podium in Monaco, while also taking another one this season in Doha. The GOAT of NFL, Tom Brady, was the 4th celebrity team owner to join the E1 series. Team Brady were the champions of the world in 2024, and by a country mile, all thanks to their pilot Sam Coleman, multiple British, American and P1 powerboat champion, and Emma Kimiläinen, title contender of the now long-gone W Series, that showed incredible adaptability on these boats. To this day, they are the teams with the most wins under their belt, with 3 in Jeddah, Venice and Monaco. The 2025 started a little bit rough though, with 2 5th places finishes and a podium straight away due to a penalty. Superstar DJ Steve Aoki was the next one to join, continuing his father powerboat racing legacy by creating the Aoki Racing Team. 2024 was a rough year for the team, finishing 8 out of 9. Although the team and the pilots Saud Ahmed and Mashal by then always went upward, and they even got a top 4 in the last race. Warren Wending and pilot changed later, as Daniel Pills joined the team, and they are now one of the favorites for the 2025 championship, winning the first race in Jeddah this year while dominating the race. Also, I'm in love with the boat. Like, a lot. Virat Kohli, one of the greatest cricket players in all of India, joined next with Team Blue Rising, with a tiger being the symbol and logo for the team. Just like on the pitch, Kohli now wants to represent his nation, India, in the E1 series also. The first ever season in 2024 was a bit of a roller coaster for the team, with pilots Isaac Hossein Battaglia, aquabike racer, and Phil Kavanagh, road and off-road bike rider and director of the Classic Car Club. The team was on a desperate search for a podium, and after being so close a plethora of time, in the end they didn't make it, and they were 7th in the championship. 2025 arrived and the world turned upside down. Teams that were competing in 2024, they are now struggling, and the ones that were last are now common-side in their first positions. TBR, after changing both their pilots, with John Peters, 19 times Powerboat champion, and Sarah Misser, Jamaican GT racer, are now constantly on the top 4, with podium dreams now fulfilled in the first race of 2025. Mark Anthony decided to bring Miami seat in the series, founding his own team, Team Miami. With their pilots, Eric Stark, nicknamed the Iceman, 11-time F2H2O champion, and Anna Glennon, nicknamed Jet Girl, 8-time US and Canadian jet ski champion, also being the only woman to win in a man-only championship. The team was one of the only ones to fight head-to-head with Team Brady, and also the only one to take the championship lead away from them, after their one and for now only win in Puerto Banús. After that win though, the team has been struggling, from mechanical grumblings and bad luck in general, that didn't stop in 2025. They're fast though, and they know how to be competitive, so when things goes their way, they take no prisoners. Team Brazil joined the series only a month away from the first race. Spearheaded by Marcelo Clauet, Brazilian entrepreneur that owns 2 football clubs in South America, the teams actually had decent results, but wasn't able to be consistent enough to be aiming for the title. Inside the boat, there was Katie Mannings and Timmy Hansen, the 2 best buddies in the world of motorsport. In fact, they've already raced together in Extreme E, and they've done it again in 2024, with some podium as a result. In 2025, Katie left the team and it was replaced by Mike Stromoy, multiple-time race winner in F1 H2O, and also a singer and a pilot representative in the UEM. 2025 started, still some ups and downs for the team, but I think they have what it takes to be at the front of the fleet. After the race in Jeddah, a big news took everyone in the paddock by surprise. A new team joining at the second race in Venice? That's right, Will Smith would have his own team from round 2 onwards, called Westbrook Racing, named after his own media company, Westbrook. With a vibrant red racebird, they took everyone by storm by taking a podium in their first race, thanks to their 2 fierce pilots, Lucas Ordóñez, winner of the Nissan GT Academy in 2016, and Sarah Price, off-road racer and stunt woman that won 4 stages in this year's Dakar Rally. Loads of people say that if this team participated in Jeddah, they would have fought foil to foil with Team Brady, a team that dominated the 2024 championship. Last team, at least for now, joined at the start of 2025, with the name of Team Alula championed by LeBron James, with Katie Manning coming from Team Brazil and Rusty Wyatt in the cockpit. The name Alula comes from the only UNESCO site in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Alula Oasis, and has very recognizable leopard stripes on their racebird to signify the Arabian leopard. The season started really strong in Jeddah with a 2nd place in qualifying, unfortunately ended with a P8 at the finish line, and in Doha they came home with a P7. They are a new team, but we can expect big things in the next races and seasons. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about the race format using the first 2 seasons, and we have a lot to talk about. There's actually been a very big amount of formats in the short history of this championship. We'll cover them all. The first ever format was only used in a single race, the E1 Jeddah GP 2024. Here, the teams would do a shakedown first, which is basically for practice for understanding the track, condition, and came up with a strategy. Then qualifying, where for safety reasons they decided to divide the teams into 2 groups and make them qualify separately. After everyone of the first group completed 3 time laps, they would return to the docks and the second group would start qualifying. Then, when they were done, the teams of the first group would change pilot and go again. The final qualifying order would be created by the fastest average lap of the 2 pilots of every team, and it would divide them in 2 semi-final groups, Group A and Group B. The semi-finals, which are next, are basically normal races where every team needed to do a long lap, which is a joker lap from Rallycross with a different name. Teams in the Group A would do semi-final 1 and 3, and Group B would do semi-final 2 and 4, with a pilot swap in between the two. The teams with the 2 worst combined results of every semi-final group would go to the place race. Just one race with long lap that will finish in P5, P6, P7 and P8. On the other hand, the team with the 2 best combined results will go to the 2 super final, 2 big races, still with the long lap, that are worth big points. This is where the event winner is declared, and will also decide who finishes in P2, P3 and P4. This format will be changed after the Westbrook Racing team joined the series in Venice, adding 2 semifinals and adding the race-off. Basically, the team that arrives second in each semifinals would battle it out in this race, and the winner would join the semifinal winners in the finals, while the other 2 boats will be sent in the place race. Another change, which was a bit controversial, would be that the team with the worst combined time in the semifinal would be completely eliminated from the weekend, meaning being classified P9 with no chance of regaining position. The first ever team to suffer this phase would be Sergio Perez E1 team, but also caught an experienced team like Team Brady in the next race in Puerto Banús. After said race, another format change will be implemented. Now the team with the worst combined result wouldn't be eliminated anymore. Thank God! And now the amount of teams that were racing in the super finals would be increased to 5. Also now, would be the first 2 teams classifying the race-off will be sent to the finals, leaving the other 4 in the place race. The 2024 season finale arrived, and the format changed once more. The race-off was completely removed from the weekend schedule, and they would choose who's in the final and wins the place race by the average time in the semifinals. Overall, these formats weren't the best. They were a bit confusing for the spectator watching at home, and sometimes they could have led to some funky results. For example, Team Brady winning Monaco after finishing 4th in the first final and 2nd in the second one. For 2025, the format was changed once again for a simpler and more straightforward one. Shakedown first and then qualifying like last year. They still divided teams in 2 groups with a pilot change, but they removed the 2 boats on track limit that it was last year, making it more exciting to watch. After that, the teams will be divided based on the qualifying result in 2 groups for the qualifying races. The quali races are races that declare how the team would get divided for the group races. We'll talk about them later. The interesting part about these 6 sub races is that after the 4th and 5th lap, the team in last position would be eliminated from that specific race. After that, the group races will be held, just like last year with a long lap, and for this year also a short lap, which is basically a first joker lap that will make you cut a portion of the track, gaining you time instead of losing it. The team winning the group races will go straight to the final, and the team coming in last place will be sent directly in the place race. The teams that were in every other position would fight for a spot in the finals in the race-off, where the top 3 teams would access these races, and the other, in P4 and 5, would be placed in the place race. The last change, maybe the most important one, is that the event winner isn't declared by a combined results. The pilot that raced in the first final will make the second one start in the lane based on the position it arrives. If it arrives first, it will start from the inside lane. If it is coming last, it will start in the outside lane. If it is third at the line, it will start in the center lane, and so on. Starting on the inside line is exactly like starting in pole position in every other racing series. On the other hand, the second pilot arriving position will declare the team final position in the event. So, for example, if Team X arrives in last place in Final 1 with Pilot 1, it can still win the race if Pilot 2 brings it home in first. There you have it. This is everything you need to know about the E1 series. Personally, I love this championship. It is growing day by day, and I'm eager to see how it will develop. I also hope to have made you passionate about this type of racing. And for last, we'll see you in the racetrack.